Every morning you wake up. But how often does your heart truly wake up with you? We live surrounded by rush, distractions, and automatic thoughts. And without noticing, we begin the day guarded, tense, in survival mode. The Buddha taught a practice that dissolves that rigidity of the soul, Metta. The meditation of loving kindness is not just a spiritual technique. It is a way to begin the day with an open heart. When you practice Metta from the moment you wake, you do not only transform your energy, you transform the way the world responds to you. Stay with me, because today I will guide you step by step so you learn how to cultivate loving kindness from the very first breath of the day. And at the end, I will share with you a Buddhist morning ritual that monks practice to infuse their entire day with compassion and serenity. Awaken your mind. But above all, awaken your heart. Breathe deeply and walk with me step by step along this path. Let us begin. It is said that a young monk, impatient to see results on his spiritual path, approached his teacher one morning as the sun began to light the temple garden. With a voice full of longing, he asked, "Teacher, how can I know if my spiritual practice is bearing fruit?" The elder did not answer immediately. He simply pointed to the garden where dozens of flowers were slowly opening to the warmth of the dawn. The air was filled with silence and life. Then the teacher said, "Look at those flowers. They all receive the same sunlight, the same wind, and the same rain. And yet, not all of them bloom in the same way." The disciple observed them carefully and after a moment asked with humility, "So, what makes one bloom more than another?" The teacher smiled with the calm of one who understands the unseen. "The soil where it grows, you can have the best seed, the purest water, the brightest light. But if the soil is not fertile, nothing can bloom." The same happens with the heart. If it is not nourished with kindness, gratitude, and compassion, no spiritual practice can take root. The young man lowered his gaze and understood that he could spend years meditating, repeating mantras, studying sutras, or seeking wisdom in books. But if his heart remained closed, all his effort would be like watering a dry garden. From that day on, before every dawn, he no longer sat to practice in order to achieve something. He simply placed his hands over his chest and said silently, "May my mind think with love. May my words arise with love. And may my actions be love in motion." In time, he no longer needed to repeat it. His prayer became his way of seeing, of speaking, of living. His practice ceased to be a routine and became presence, because he understood that true enlightenment does not come from outside, but from a heart that has learned to bloom, even in the midst of silence, even in the midst of the world. Pause, close your eyes for a moment, and return to the moment you wake each morning. Before checking your phone, before recalling your responsibilities, what is the first thing you say to yourself? Listen carefully to those subtle voices. Do you speak to yourself with tenderness or with pressure? With gratitude or with haste? Because every thought you utter at dawn is the invisible seed that will shape your day. The practice of Metta, loving kindness, does not begin in the temple or in meditation. It begins there, in that first inner dialogue you have with yourself, in the way you choose to look at yourself before looking at the world. When your first thought is born from love, the mind settles, the body opens, and the entire universe seems to respond with the same gentleness you choose to offer. Nothing outside has changed yet, but something essential transforms within you, because the energy with which you awaken is the vibration with which you will create everything else. If upon opening your eyes you choose compassion, if you bless instead of complain, if you give thanks instead of rushing, then life, without knowing how, will begin to reflect your peace. Walk with me to discover how to practice loving kindness from the very first breath of the day, and how to turn that serene, pure, and luminous frequency into your natural way of moving through the world. Teaching 1. Begin with love towards yourself. The Buddha taught, you cannot truly love another if you first do not learn to love your own mind. True love is not born from sacrifice, but from a deep recognition of your own dignity. Before you can offer peace to the world, you must learn to dwell in it within yourself. Each morning, upon waking, before checking your phone or recalling your responsibilities, place one hand over your heart and listen to the pulse of life beating within you. That silent rhythm is your temple, your home. Breathe and repeat gently, letting each word caress your soul. May I be at peace. May I be free from suffering. May my day be guided by love. It is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of awareness. Because one who loves themselves, not from vanity but from compassion, becomes a channel of light for others. Love towards yourself is the root of all goodness. Only a heart that has forgiven itself can forgive. Only a soul that has embraced itself can embrace the world. And only a being that has allowed itself to rest in its own tenderness can extend that same peace to all beings. Begin with yourself. Fill your inner cup each morning, and you will see how the love you cultivate within naturally overflows into everything you touch. Teaching 2. Extend your love to those you love. Close your eyes for a moment and bring to mind the face of someone who inspires tenderness in you. A friend, a loved one, perhaps your pet. Do not analyze it. Just feel. Allow their image to awaken in your chest, a gentle warmth, like a light beginning to expand from the heart. That sensation, that subtle tremor of love, is the purest form of energy. It needs no words, no physical presence, no short distance. It only needs intention. As you maintain that connection, let your breath become a bridge and repeat silently with the voice of the soul. May you be at peace. May you be safe. May your life be filled with joy. Feel how that vibration extends from your heart to theirs, as if you are sending light through space. That is the living practice of Metta, loving kindness. A love that does not demand, does not control, does not ask for anything in return. When you wish well-being for another being without expecting reward, your heart expands beyond the limits of the self. And in that moment, something sacred occurs. The love you send also heals you. Because truly loving another is reminding them and reminding yourself that at the core of every soul lives the same light. And that by blessing another, you are remembering the love that you also are. Teaching 3. Send kindness to those you find difficult to love. This is where the practice of Metta, loving kindness, reveals its true spiritual power. Because it is not only about sending love to those who love you, but about opening the heart precisely where it hurts most to do so. Think for a moment of someone with whom you struggle. A person who disturbed your peace, who left wounds or misunderstanding. You do not have to justify what they did or force yourself to forget. Simply recognize that continuing to carry that weight is remaining bound to the past. Take a deep breath and repeat silently, with the most compassionate voice you can summon. May you also find peace. You do not do this for that person. You do it for yourself. Because while you keep resentment alive, the pain continues to live in your chest. And when you choose to let it go, even a little, the soul begins to breathe again. Forgiving does not mean allowing, reconciling, or erasing what happened. It means stopping the nourishment of the wound. It is saying, I no longer need to keep suffering because of this. Compassion does not always embrace the other. Sometimes it simply frees you, and in that moment of quiet release, you discover that forgiveness is not a moral act, but a way of coming home. When you send kindness, even to the one who hurt you, you are not approving their behavior. You are declaring that your peace is worth more than your past. And that is the highest love, the one that does not seek to be right, but to heal. Teaching 4. Expand kindness to the entire world. The Buddha taught that the practice of metta, loving kindness, is like the sun. It does not choose whom it shines upon. It does not discriminate. It does not judge. It simply shines because its nature is to give warmth and light. Your heart can be the same when you learn to love without borders. Your energy no longer belongs only to you and begins to weave an invisible thread with all forms of life. Imagine for a moment your breath becoming slower, your chest opening, and a warm light beginning to expand from the center of your heart. First, it covers your body, then your home, your city, your country, until it wraps the entire planet in a soft golden vibration. Repeat mentally with devotion. May all beings be happy. May all beings live in peace. May all hearts remember their light. You do not need to see immediate results. That silent yet vast energy travels farther than you imagine. Perhaps it arrives as comfort to a sad soul, as clarity to someone who is lost, or as serenity to someone who does not know where that sudden calm comes from. What you send returns. The universe listens not to your words, but to the frequency of your intention. And when your heart vibrates in love, life inevitably begins to respond in the same tone. Every compassionate thought you emit is a seed you plant in the collective consciousness. And if each morning you choose to expand your light a little more, the day will come when you realize something profound. You are not sending love to the world. You are the world loving itself through you. Teaching 5. Practice kindness in everyday life. Metta. Loving kindness is not a practice that ends when you open your eyes after meditating. It is a way of living awake, of making the ordinary sacred. Every gesture, no matter how small it may seem, can become an offering. A sincere smile to a stranger, a word that soothes instead of wounds, a pause before responding from anger. In those brief moments, invisible to the world, is where the soul reveals its true practice. Kindness is not a passing emotion. It is a conscious attention that sees the other as an extension of oneself. When you walk with that awareness, compassion becomes natural. Patience blooms effortlessly, and presence becomes your purest way of loving. Each time you choose to act with tenderness, even if no one notices, you are meditating. Each time you choose to understand before reacting, you are offering silence instead of noise, peace instead of judgment, light instead of shadow. Do not seek grand acts. True spiritual practice is revealed in the everyday, in how you speak, how you listen, how you look, in how you allow love to manifest through you. Because when you live from metta, you do not need to sit down to meditate in order to be calm. Life itself becomes your meditation. Pause, close your eyes, and place one hand on your chest. Feel the rhythm of your breathing, the steady pulse that reminds you you are alive. You are here. Beneath every fear, there is love waiting to be remembered. Beneath every tension, there is a heart that only longs to rest in the peace it has forgotten. There is nothing you need to achieve, nor a more perfect version of yourself that you must build. The practice of metta is not about learning something new, but about remembering what you already are. A channel through which life flows. A space where love can move freely. Allow each inhalation to bring you closer to that remembrance, and each exhalation to dissolve the layers that separate you from it. Feel how love does not come from outside, but rises from the deepest part of you. Like a spring that never runs dry, because metta is not a technique. It is a return. A return to the home of the heart, where there is no separation between you and the world, where loving simply becomes being. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply and allow the air to clear your mind. Exhale slowly and feel how your body softens, how the heart begins to open like a flower to the sun. These affirmations are not future wishes. They are truths that already live within you, waiting to be remembered. Repeat each one with presence, with soul, as if each word were a heartbeat. My mind rests in kindness. I no longer need to fight my thoughts. I turn them into refuge. My heart radiates compassion towards all beings. My love has no borders or conditions. Wherever I go, I carry peace. My mere presence is an offering of calm to the world. Love guides my thoughts, my words, and my gestures. Everything I do becomes an expression of my awakened awareness. Today, I choose to look at the world with eyes of tenderness. I see beyond appearances. I recognize the light in every being. Breathe with each phrase. Feel how your chest expands, how your energy becomes lighter, how something within you remembers its true nature. You are not repeating words. You are reprogramming your vibration. Each affirmation is an act of creation, a seed of love planted in the mind and the body. Remain for a few seconds in silence and let the final resonance hold you. Because when you choose to love with awareness, you are no longer just speaking about love. You become it. When you wake up, before the world enters through your senses, remain for a moment in silence. Do not rush to move. Do not reach for your phone. Do not recall what is pending. Simply feel the first pulse of life in your chest. That heartbeat that reminds you that today, once again, you have been granted the miracle of beginning. Place your hands over your heart. Let the warmth of your palms awaken the dormant energy and repeat in a gentle voice or in deep silence. May my mind think with love. May my voice speak with kindness. May my steps be compassion in motion. Remain for 1 minute breathing this intention as if you were planting within yourself the seed of the day. With each inhalation, plant calm. With each exhalation, offer gratitude. Then imagine your day unfolding before you like a path covered in golden light. Every word you speak, every look, every gesture will be your field of practice. Opportunities to remember that love is not something you think, It is something you embody. Because true meditation does not end when you open your eyes. It begins right there. When you choose to look at the world with compassion, listen with presence, and walk with the gentleness of one who knows that every step can be a prayer. May this small ritual be your conscious dawn, a silent pact between your soul and life, so that each day begins not with haste, but with awakened love. Today, we remember a truth the heart already knew, even if the mind often forgets it. Loving kindness is not taught with words. It is revealed through presence. Because true love is not a fragile feeling that appears only when life is kind, but a silent force that remains lit even in the midst of the storm. Metta. Loving kindness is a discipline of the soul, a practice that shapes the way you look, the way you speak, the way you move, until loving becomes your natural way of being in the world. It is not about denying pain or avoiding challenges, but about choosing again and again to respond from awareness rather than from the wound. Each time, you choose tenderness over reaction, understanding over judgment, compassionate silence over the need to be right. The entire universe rearranges itself around you. Because when you live from metta, you do not only change your energy, you change the very fabric of the reality that surrounds you. Your presence becomes a refuge, your voice a medicine, and your steps a reminder that even in a world in chaos, there is still the possibility of responding with awakened love. And that is the greatest power of the human being. Not the power to dominate or control, but the power to choose to love consciously. Even when the ego wants to close the heart, remember, each morning is a sacred doorway. You can cross it with the energy of fear or with the vibration of love. And in that simple, silent choice, the direction of your entire day is defined. And little by little, of your entire life. Tell me in the comments who you will choose to send your first words of kindness to today. If these words touched your heart, I invite you, without hurry, without obligation, only if you feel it, to keep walking with me along the path of the wise monk. Here we do not speak of love as an idea. Here we practice it. We breathe it. We make it living presence. When the next dawn arrives, may your first thought be gratitude, your first word compassion, and your first action a reflection of the peace that already lives within you. Because love is not something you find outside. It is the force that awakens when you remember who you are. Light, awareness, and tenderness in motion. See you in the next video. A hug of light